Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I think we'll just wait another minute. I did hear from Dr. Yarborough that he is going to be a few minutes late. Another meeting running over.
Attorney Alexiadis, I'm trying to pull you over, but it keeps showing up as declining the invite to join.
Let's see. Here I am. The box kept disappearing, so I don't know why.
All right, I think we'll go ahead and get started. Call this meeting to order. I might skip over an item or two, waiting for other committee members. So, for instance, I know data sharing agreements is something that Dr. Yarborough always has great interest in. So we'll probably pass over that until he's able to join us. But in the meantime, we'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. Finance and Operations Committee meeting. I do have a hard stop for myself at 6 p.m. So I'm hoping, I don't think we're going to be going that late, but just to let everybody know, I have another meeting I need to get to that I have to travel to. So we'll jump into the agenda. I had no questions on the information only items. So we'll start with the abstract 3.1 for the SIG for Roberto Clemente. So is Ms. Jorge available or somebody else to speak on this?
I can speak on that. This is the abstract for the 25-26 school year for the school improvement grant. It outlines how Clemente will be using their SIG dollars to support the school's initiatives around the grant. They were granted $200,000 this year through the State Department of Education, and it's a federal grant. So they're going to be hiring additional tutors. They're going to be taking a look at bringing Learn back in to do some work around sheltered instruction, and also purchasing the HMH Performance Suite extension. They're one of the schools that are using the SIG grant to pilot that piece. So the abstract document outlines how the money will also be used to support after-school programming.
All right, thank you for that. I had no other questions on it, so we'll go ahead and I'm going to pass over for the moment the data sharing agreement, and let's move to 5.1, which is the agreement with United Illuminating. Dr. White?
Yes, I've brought in a couple people to additionally help answer some questions that have come up regarding this. So initially, this is for additional canopies across the district. As you know, we just completed.
I'm sorry, Dr. White, 5.1 is LED lighting retrofits.
Oh, sorry. Yes, so this is a continuation of that project to do our retrofits of lightings around the district. We do get some rebates and energy savings from this. And we've been continuing to do this work throughout the district.
All right, thank you. My question is, are there any costs for us on this? I seem to remember some other LED lighting ones. We had some upfront costs and there was some reimbursement, but it wasn't fully reimbursed, and so we paid a percentage. I might be getting the details wrong.
To my understanding, there is some upfront cost, but again, uh, the on-billing, it's the retrofits gets us to do the replacements, and then the credits come up on the bills that we pay. And uh, Hannah, if you have
Yes, I
anything,
can jump
you
in,
can.
Dr. White.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for bringing this to the board's attention. My name is Hannah Zochua Reyes. I'm the city's sustainability policy analyst and engagement coordinator. I work under Stephen Winter in the Office of Climate and Sustainability. Regarding the LED projects, that would be funded through on-bill financing as part of the electricity bill. So it would be a loan that we get from the utility, and they would integrate it into the electricity bill. And then as we pay our electricity bills, these projects would also be paid off alongside them. And then after the projects are paid off on the on-bill financing, then all the benefits of the energy savings would stay with the school. So say, for example, instead of paying $10 per hour for, lighting, you'd be paying $7. So that's $3 that goes back to the school every single time you're billed for the rest of the life of the project.
Okay, so there is going to be increased costs to the district at the beginning of this.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm
So it would
just
be
trying.
increases to the on-bill. So it would be increases to the existing utility bills.
Okay, and do we have an estimate of what the increase to the utility bills would be?
Let me see. So over 3 years, I'm having some messages coming in from Stephen Winter. He said over the 3-year period, there would be no net increase cost.
Okay. So my request
Oh,
for the
I see. So he said, I'm sorry, my apologies. These are coming in concurrently as we're talking. But Stephen Winter says that due to the savings that we would accrue from the energy efficiency improvements, the savings would cover the amount that we spend. So net, there would be no increased cost because of the savings from the energy efficiency measures.
Okay. And then, so for the first few years, it would balance out. And then
Mhm.
after that, there'd be savings.
Yes, correct.
Okay. All right. So my request, Dr. White, would just be to add a little bit more information in the brief description of services that just kind of explains that.
Okay.
I mean, now that it's being explained to me, I can see what's meant by the projects are financially self-supporting over the 3-year financing period. But if we could just add a little bit more to that sentence to make it clear that we're estimating that it's not going to be increasing the costs because the efficiencies will balance the financing, just something that just explains that a little bit more fully.
No problem.
Okay. All right. So I think that was the question I had on related to that. So, and I don't know that we need to, I'm just thinking Ms. DeMayo, is our description typically when we have something that doesn't have a cost, we say it's going to be no cost. Maybe we need a little bit of sentence in there saying there's no cost anticipated because the efficiencies will balance out the financing costs. I'm just wondering how we describe it so that it's clear. Um, Maybe it's sufficient as it is with the extra description in the memo. Now that I'm saying all that through. Okay. Any Attorney Alexiadis?
Yes, in general, as I understand it, the way these projects are structured, um, is that the utility company or through a grant from Energize Connecticut covers approximately half the cost, and then we pay the other half through this on bill financing. And I don't know if that aspect um, um, was clear to the committee.
Yeah.
That's all.
So I think that could just be kind of covered and just expanding out the description just to make it a little bit more clear. I don't know that we need a full memo or anything like that, but just something that just really spells it out that there will be some costs, but there will be savings, and hopefully it balances. But it's not like we're writing them a check specifically for this. It'll be in the utility bills, and then there should be savings. So, anything else in this item? Okay, let's go ahead and move to 5.2, which is this is the agreement with Green Skies Clean Energy on solar parking canopies.
Yes. So as you know, we've just completed a project on Beecher and Hill Central for canopies. This is expanding that to do at Clemente and Correa High School. And again, it would create the solar panels that will generate energy that'll go into the general fund budget.
Okay. So, and it's general fund budget of the city.
Yes.
Okay. So my questions were along the lines of I thought, and it might be because I'm misremembering and misreading the documents from, I think we did this in 2022 or 2023. The solar canopies that were at the other two schools talked about how there was going to be power savings, that these would generate savings to power 20% of Hill Central's electricity and 33% of Beecher's, and that the solar canopies were forecast to save $275,000 over the term of the power purchase agreement. Am I incorrect that so is the funds that is the savings generated there going to the city's general fund, or is it to the district's general fund from this
Uh,
previous arrangement? Because the new arrangement, it's very clear. It's just the financial benefits going to the city.
right. I would have to investigate that. I don't know if Hannah has any information.
Yes, I was going to say thank you, Dr. White. I can jump in here. I'd also like to introduce Ryan Linares from Green Skies. He's also here to answer any other questions you guys may have. He's a real source matter expert. So with regards to the prior agreement versus this agreement and the funding structure, the funds from the prior agreement are a power purchase agreement that I believe is going to the schools, right, Ryan?
That's correct. So whatever
Yes.
agency pays the utility bill at those schools, if it's the Board of Education, then they would be the ones saving money.
Yes, and then with this new agreement, that would be a lease, and those funds would be going to the city's general funds. Although the benefits of the parking canopies, like with regards to cover, so shade during the summer and snow and rain, cover during the winter would be going to the schools. Ryan, if you have anything else you'd like to add?
Yeah, just a quick update on the Beecher and Hill Central projects. As Dr. White had mentioned, they are mechanically complete and they will officially receive it's their permission to operate in the next couple days here. So you'll start realizing the Board of Ed will start realizing those energy savings over the next billing cycle. So probably at the start of 2026 when the systems go online and start producing energy. It will be in turn reducing the electricity costs at both of those schools.
And also for context with this new agreement, it's an agreement model that has been used with other departments in the city. So the Parks Department is also hosting parking canopies with a lease structure, with the funds generated also going into the general fund.
Okay. So it's the major difference is so it's the way this current program is structured is what's requiring that it's going to be funds going into the city as opposed to reductions of the power bills for the schools that these are going to. So is that correct? So this is the way
That's
it has to
So
be. I'm just trying to wrap my brain around that.
essentially, so the former agreements, essentially, the ways that they're structured is that whoever's paying those bills gets those savings on those bills. And then I think Ryan can speak to this a lot better than I can, but the way that the leasing agreement is structured, we get like a better deal on how much money we get for leasing the space, versus how much money we'd get in a power purchase agreement, using the leasing structure than we would with a power purchase agreement.
Okay.
That's correct, Hannah. And the in 2022, when we initially did the power purchase agreement contracts for Beecher and Hill Central, the incentive it primarily incentivized uh, the power purchase agreement structure. Fast forward to 2026, when we would apply for these incentives, the entire program is called NRES, has sort of flipped on its head, where it's significantly more incentive to just lease the parking lots instead of providing power to the physical buildings on those properties. And as Hannah said, the value then is pushed back to the city in the form of a much higher lease rate as opposed to energy savings. I'd say it's likely double the amount of income versus what you would have been saving um, through a power purchase.
Okay. So it just the I see your hand turning, Alexiata,
Yeah.
so I'll get to you in a moment.
Yep.
The okay, so and these incentives that you're talking about is from who's actually funding those incentives. So that's what changes the math on this. The reason why I'm asking is I'm, not on the Board of Alders, on the Board of Ed, and reducing our power bills that the Board of Ed's budget pays for is a much more direct benefit to the schools than feeding the general fund, which I understand feeds a huge portion of the school's budget, for which we're grateful for. So I'm just trying to wrap my brain about why the differences. So it sounds like the differences are needed for this program to be working. And it can't be structured this in the previous way. So my question is, will the schools be able to get an update as to how much money these are generating for the general fund? Like how much will we have any?
Oh, any insight as to what the monthly payment to the city and what the contribution will be, in terms of the funds we receive from these lease agreements?
Yeah, so I'm kind of interested in that for two reasons. One is
Mhm.
just it's good to know that if we're helping the city's general fund,
How much?
that we know
How
how
much
much we're
exactly?
helping
Yeah.
it,
Mhm.
because we might ask for some portion of it or use that as justification depending on how significant that is. And the other is because of we also, similar to the Board of Alders, we do have a climate resolution in place. And we have a group of students and staff members that are, as well as the general public, keenly aware in what the schools are doing. So being able to have reports about what these things are generating, power saved, money saved, and emissions saved, et cetera, would be helpful.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really grateful for the work that we've been able to do and the work that we'll be able to do hopefully in the future with the schools, regarding your sustainability initiatives. And I actually do have the data right here on the estimated lease payments per school. So for Career, we're looking at about $48,663. And for Clemente, it's something in the neighborhood of $25,276 in lease payments.
And that's annually, you were saying, or over the life of the,
I believe that's annually.
That is it.
Yes. Thanks, Ryan.
okay. All right. My final question on this is just if there's anything is damaged on these solar panels or the canopies, just who's responsible for them.
Yep, we
Yep.
can answer that easily. Go for it, Ryan.
Okay. Yeah, so the canopies will be Green Sky's property, and we're responsible for all the maintenance and upkeep of these solar panels. So any damage done is we take out insurance on the this property, and it is the responsibility of Green Skies.
Okay, thank you. Attorney Alexiadis?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Um, unless I'm missing something, the exact amount of the revenue is specified. It's on the first page of the memo. As Hannah described it as approximate, but it's right there, $72,939 a year. And this is just so we're clear. There's no energy savings here. This is a straight lease. As I understand, I could be wrong about that. These properties were not eligible for a power purchase agreement. Um, uh, because of the program change, or there's other solar panels on these buildings, so you can't have both. But this is just the city is just leasing the parking lot space to this company, and we'll collect rent at a flat fee over the 20-year life of the agreement. Whether that's a good deal or bad is not for
Yeah,
me
so pretty
to
much
decide.
the
But that's all it is, just a lease. And so um, the which will be entered into by the city because it's city property. And so I think that these folks are here just seeking approval of the concept and the use because the property is otherwise dedicated to school use.
Thank you, Attorney Alexiadis. Yes, just to clarify, it is just a lease agreement. It's not similarly structured to the other agreement, and it is similar to other agreements that the Parks Department has made with the city as well.
Thank you. Dr. Yarbrough?
Yes, thank you. Um, just catching up a little bit. I think some of what Attorney Alexiadis mentioned is uh, what I'm curious about. So I'm curious about why this is coming before the Board of Ed. Um, and it looks like, in terms of the members of the selection committee, I think they're all City of New Haven members. And is this an agreement with New Haven Public Schools, or is this an agreement with the city? And what are we actually being asked to do?
So the city owns all our buildings, but the board has control of the buildings and properties while they're being used for an educational by the schools. So the city's the entity that would enter into this, but it would need our permission to be able to do this. I don't know if the permission is required or if it's encouraged. But I think what we would be doing is saying, yes, it's okay to do this. And so that's the reason why.
Okay, thank you. And from the conversation now, the financial benefits don't come directly to us. What are the health risks? One, that's a question, just to clarify. I think that's what I heard. It will go to the city general fund, but not to NHPS. And my question is, what are the health risks to our students and community from having the parking panels up?
So I guess I can Hannah, I could try to answer that to start. Um, so the health risk, is not a question I normally get. Usually it's when the panels are on the roof. That is the typical question of potential electromagnetic fields, on top of the roof of the building. We have the industry as a whole actually has had to do significant studies in terms of the EMFs that radiate, not just off the inverters, but all of the EMFs that are throughout the building of schools, computers and lighting, electrical components. And the reason why we're able to get local permits, statewide permits to construct these projects is because the EMFs are actually tend to be much lower than what you'll find, in a typical school classroom if there's a computer or something else. And in this case, because they're relatively far away from the building and not on the roof of the schools, they're out in the parking lot. There's relatively zero exposure to any of the electromagnetic fields that will, come off of solar panels or really any electrical components. But because of the industry results, we're not only able to put solar installations at schools, but also, larger solar farms near residential neighborhoods because there's a minimal impact on that side. I'm not sure if that was specific to your question, but that
Yes,
tends to.
it gives me a start. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Were there any other comments or questions on this one?
Um, just a comment as it relates to our board. We should probably clarify in the memo what we are actually submitting or asking the board to consider as it relates to NHPS, so that people don't necessarily think that this is a particular financial commitment or that something's coming back to us. Basically, because the memo, the way it's set up, it looks like our traditional memo that we use. But I think there's some unique factors to this arrangement that we should spell out clearly so board members know what they're considering.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Yarbrough. I agree. That sounds great. If we could just have a brief memo. And I would also, because of the climate issues, I mean, there is the, proliferation of solar throughout the city is a general benefit to the city and to all of us as we move away from, carbon-based to solar and wind, et cetera, is just going to be better all around. So I would also mention some of those benefits, even though there's not direct financial benefits to the district.
Agree.
Anything else on this? All right.
All
So
right,
that was
thank you
item.
very much for your time.
Oh, thank you. And thank you both for joining us. It's very informative. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So just to catch everybody up where we are, we just finished 5.2, but we passed over 4.1 because it was a data sharing agreement. I figured there might be some discussion on that. So let's drop down back to 4.1 and talk about the data sharing agreement with Varsity Tutors. Mr. Nguyen?
Yes, good evening. This is dealing with Varsity Tutors, which is an online learning platform that connects learners of all ages through a tutoring program with AI power matching system. It is for Hill Central and East Rock for grades 3 through 8. And the company is offering at no expense, nor do we anticipate them charging parents for additional extra tutoring. They do want to create a study through Mathematica, which is they work with the federal government in order for them to see if the program is effective. So a way to do that is they have asked for specific fields, one being the district ID, the grade level, gender, race, SPED, ML, and other benchmark assessments. And the reason why they're asking for those fields is because they want to know if the tutoring is effective for certain groups of people or students. And that's why they have requested that. And they have proven that they do follow federal and federal guidelines with securing the data through Mathematica. And in addition, that's all I have for right now, I think, with that.
Also, if I may,
Yep.
Mr. Jason Botel has joined us from Varsity Tutors,
Okay.
in order to reassure us also about the expense. I know that that was a concern, that we will not have any expenses on the back end for parents or other entities. So this is strictly a free, at no cost study to us, but it benefits both of these schools because of the tutoring. I know that other districts, such as New Britain, has used varsity tutors before, and it's been very successful there. So we thought we'd take them up on the opportunity to see, to have our students participate and have them for the tutoring services, as well as the study.
So thank you for this information. I will be recommending that we update the cover memo to include information about the study because it answers the big question as to why are we the beneficiaries of free services, and fully understand the idea that if it's working with Mathematica to be able to do that. I think something just up front that in order to support this, because it answers the questions about why on the pricing or lack of, and then also why on the data fields.
Okay, so you
Are the-
want us to update the cover memo?
There's a cover
Okay.
memo here, but I think what's missing is that piece that kind of
Okay.
explains the why. Dr. Yarbrough?
Yes. And thank you very much for the walkthrough. That was really good. Thank you. Um, I think two questions I have. One, for the data fields that you've mentioned, um, I don't necessarily see anything that is personally identifiable. Is that true?
That is true.
Okay. Um, Now, any of the tutoring, the one-on-one things that will happen, is that live tutoring? How does,
I believe
I guess,
it's
how does that
virtual.
happen?
Yep, it's, I believe, virtual tutoring. It is offered during school hours or after school. Students can access the platform via in school within the curriculum with a teacher, or they can access it at home after hours for extra help and so forth.
Okay. So things will become personally identifiable at that point with the live instruction.
Do you want me to respond to that?
Please do.
Okay. First of all, thank you so much, everyone, for this opportunity, and thanks for these questions. And I apologize that I'm not on camera running my son around. He's a high school student. So in answer to your question, Mathematica, the research partner, will not have access to any personally identifiable data. It is true that when we partner with a district, anytime we do, the students do roster. So, we do have the students' names. And that's just typical in our partnerships with districts, but we will not be transmitting the student names to our research partner. They will only receive district ID numbers that they're not able to tie to students' identities.
Okay, thank you. So on the district side, we should update also the memo to say about the name sharing. And also have a question for the district. Since there's a research component and we have I think a review system for research, did we bring our vendor varsity tutors through that review system?
Well, John usually, his office vets the process, and he was part of the conversation from the beginning of it. So I'll let John speak to that.
Yeah, so Mathematica hasn't filled out the IRB form yet. It was just to get this process started because they wanted to have this agreement with varsity tutors. We thought we'd try to include the data sharing at the very beginning and then later have that with the IRB process so we have a better understanding of it later on, because most of the data with varsity tutors is just the usage of the program. And once the completion of the program is over, then Mathematica will do the study. So that's why we thought we try to do it before actually bringing varsity tutors on board.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so on the district side, it sounds like we will need, yeah, I guess we'll just have to look at the memo because the memo says that the board agrees to authorize Mathematica to access the data. But Mr. Botel, I do have a question for you, please, about
Sure.
varsity tutors. How, I guess, how have you seen or what do you recommend in terms of best practices for how a teacher in the classroom might work with uh, the service of varsity tutors to work with a student and or partner with their family to work with a student?
Sure. Well, in the classroom, just to talk a little bit about what's available on the platform, there is the opportunity for students to have chat-based tutoring. It's live tutoring with a human tutor. And then there's also an AI tutor that if a student chooses that they'd like some help with the AI tutor, we've very carefully built an AI tutor that doesn't give answers, but helps students, leads them to solve problems. I've used it with my own daughter. And so those are just a couple of the options there for support. And so, for instance, a teacher may say, I'm going to work with a small group of students. While I'm working with this small group of students, I'd like another group of students to get help on the platform. Maybe they're doing independent practice and the teacher says, hey, before you ask me a question, please log on and start a chat-based tutoring session or an AI tutoring session and try to figure out how to solve the problem that way. And then, of course, I can answer your question, if you're still not able to do it. That's an example of something you can do in the classroom. And then after school with families, there's lots of opportunity. It's available 24/7. In addition to things like the AI tutor and the human chat-based tutoring, there are also live classes on a whole range of topics. And this is where a student can decide, oh, I'm really interested in astronomy, or I'm really interested in, third grade math. I'm trying to get better at that. There are classes that they can log in and sign up for one of those classes in the evening. They can, watch the class, participate in the class. Their parent can do that with them. And those are some of the opportunities. There are also an opportunity to upload an essay and get feedback from a human tutor. Again, they can do that during the school day. They can do that after school as part of their homework. Those are some of the opportunities.
Thank you. Pretty
Sure.
comprehensive there in terms of the engagement opportunities. Uh, do you also provide teachers or the school with feedback on how a student or how a classroom is doing once they engage, like any metrics for learning? Is there a way to know in what ways a student or students have engaged with the system and whether they're learning or improving?
Yes. So, in a partnership like this, there's a teacher portal as well as an administrator portal. And through those portals, you can look at a student level or class level or school level and see what's being utilized, how much each student is using it, how much time they're spending in different activities. You can see whether progress is being made. You can see whether a student seems to continue to be struggling with any particular concept. All of the tutoring sessions are recorded, so they can all be accessed if a teacher or administrator or parent wanted to dig deeper into how the student's doing, what they struggled with, how much time they spent, those kinds of things.
Great, thank you. And the tutoring sessions are 15, 30 minutes, an hour. Are they predetermined or?
Well, so it's a great question. This particular platform, let me just say, we do, not as part of the study, but we do offer high dosage tutoring. And that kind of tutoring is scheduled sessions of 15, 30, 45, just as you were saying. This particular study is of a platform that it's much more kind of student driven, where it's really up to how much the student needs. A student may go on and do a chat-based tutoring session and maybe their question's answered in 5 minutes and that's the end of the session, and that's fine. Maybe they want to go back and forth and really are struggling with it. The tutor's leading them. There are all kinds of interactive tools the tutor can use to show them how to solve the problem. Maybe it does take 20 or 30 minutes. It really depends on what's needed at that particular time for the student's learning.
Got it. Very helpful. I can visualize it now. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you, Mr. Wilcox.
All right, thank you. Any other comments or questions? Okay, hearing none. Thank you, Mr. Patel, for joining us.
Thank you. Really appreciate it.
And we will move on to the purchase orders. 6.1 purchase order under state contract with Encore Holdings. Dr. White.
Yes, 6.1 and 6.2 are essentially are for repair of fire alarm systems, one at Hill House, one at Correa, and work to be done actually so that our panels are up to date, able to connect to PSAP, and do all the things we needed to do.
All right, thank you. Any comments or questions on 6.1 or 6.2? Hearing, seeing none, we'll go on to 6.3, purchase order, state contract, total communications. Ms. Herrera.
Good afternoon.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
There you go. How are you, folks? Good afternoon. This is the Total Communication Meraki License Subscription Extension. This is a solution that manages the cloud-based dashboard, which controls our functionality of the firewall switches and access points throughout the district. The current subscription that we have was set up last year, February to February, which, as you know, this is in the middle of the school year. So we are asking for a bridge between now, February, which is actually extension expires on February 17th of 2026. And we're asking for a bridge between that February date to July 17th, 2026. Actually, we could align this subscription with the fiscal responsibilities, and it doesn't end in the middle of the year, because this is something that should not end during the middle of the year. So we're looking into that. Plus, we're also providing the time, should provide us the time we need to search to see if we could actually do this for a 3-year contract or more.
All right, thank you for that. Are there comments and questions? Dr. Yarbrough?
Thank you. Thank you for presenting this. Just trying to understand. So this is previously or currently an annual agreement, and it ends in February, and you're looking to just bridge February to July to put it back on track with other annual agreements.
Correct.
Okay. Okay. So this is a state contract. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Attorney Alexiadis?
Thank you. My only question is why doesn't it go to June 30th rather than July 17th, so it aligns with the fiscal year? I know it's capital funded, so it does not necessarily need to align with the fiscal year, but that's my question.
Concern because during the summer we set up all these things, and sometimes the things don't go through in the time that we like. So we want to make sure on the 17th it starts, so that way it's already in the school year, and we should be able to set this up in June. We're actually looking to set this up in June, but that way we have till the 17th to pay, because if we don't pay on the day of, it actually it's turned off immediately. They don't have a wiggle room.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for that. Any other comments or questions? All right, my questions were answered already, so thank you. We'll move on to 6.4, which is purchase order, state contract, air temp, and also 6.5. No, I see there. Let's stick with 6.4 to begin with. Dr. White?
Sure. This is for a replacement of a failing boiler at Clinton Avenue. The age of this equipment is between 20 and 24 years, so it has lasted its lifetime and beyond, and so that is to obviously to make a repair. There are others that are currently working with all 3 of these. There are all parts that are working. It's not. This is helping to improve and get parts that have not been working up to snuff.
All right, thank you. Comments or questions on 6.4? Then we'll move to 6.5, which is somewhat similar. This one at
The condensing unit air handler. Okay. Yes, same thing along living life expectancy 20 to 24 years. The age rather is 20 to 24 years, and again, it's beyond its lifespan and needs to be replaced.
All right. Is that similar for 6.6?
Yes.
Okay. Any comments on 6.5 or 6.6? Dr. Yarbrough.
Yes, I have a comment. I think Attorney Lefiadis also maybe. Dr. White or anyone, this is just for my personal education. If there's a state contract, is there only one vendor selected by the state to perform this service, or are there multiple vendors that
It
district can choose from?
it varies. Some have a few, like with HVAC, there are a couple companies such as you see Tuck Mechanical and Air Temp are among them. So it's a limited selection, but they've already been vetted to provide the services so that again it aids in the speed of us getting to contracting and getting equipment.
Okay, thank you. So how do you choose? Because it seems like there's not a particular selection process with a committee or quotes. How do you
Right.
choose which
Well,
one to
then
go to?
we reach out to these vendors. If you're on a state contract, you can reach out to them, say this is the job, they spec it out and give the cost of what it would be.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Any other comments or questions? Thank you for that question. We'll move into contracts. First one, 7.1, is with Avaz Caulking for doors and repairs and replacements. Dr. White?
Yes, exactly, for that to do replacement work throughout the district. Um, as we are in the midst of doing reviews and walkthroughs of buildings as we have situations that arise for safety and security or any other need within the buildings. This is for doors, the hardware that goes on the doors, so that we get them back up working and functioning the way they need to in the spaces.
Thank you. Comments or questions? I had none either. We'll go to. You look like you have a question, Dr. Yarbrough.
I do, but I'll ask it elsewhere. Thank you.
Okay. 7.2, contract with GAT Construction. Dr. White.
Yes, frequently bathrooms are an issue across the district. So this is again for repairs, partitions, or different pieces that are needed to repair student and staff bathrooms.
Okay. Dr. Yarbrough?
Yes. Just a quick question. The names under the members of the selection committee, who are they? These are, yeah, they are our staff.
I'm opening the document. Yes,
I think I'm
Mike
still meeting
Trenick.
people. Yeah.
Mike Trenick is our procurement specialist. He works for us. Lisa Hopkins is ABM's director of facilities right now, and Jeff Stanwish is the special projects manager.
Thank you.
All right. Hearing no other questions, there's a couple change orders. First one was Syracuse moving.
Yes,
Right.
the moves that we did, merging Wexler Grant to Lincoln Bassett, as well as moving Brennan staff to their new locations. It exceeded the cost we had originally on this PO.
Okay. Comments or questions? All right. 8.2 is with the Murphy Road Holdings. A rare decrease.
Yes. This was these monies come out of these different areas, so it's we'll take it from this line, and the next line will be where we'll be increasing it by the amount to stay within budget for the line item.
Okay, and so these are the dumpster services for
Yes. Right. When at times we need to have dumpsters at schools to do clean outs and again, if there's a large amount of stuff to be thrown out or different times of the year. And unfortunately, sometimes we have to bring dumpsters because some of our properties do have a great deal of illegal dumping. We do try to work with our Department of Public Works, but sometimes it's more than anyone can handle.
Okay, thank you. Comments or questions? All right, and the flip side of this is 8.3 with anti-Semics for pest control.
Yes, we've had in the fall a dramatic increase in insect activity around our buildings. We've had to take care of hornets' nests, bees' nests, and such. So these were things that had to be done for student and staff safety, to removal, and so we had to increase this line.
All right, thank you. Comments or questions? Dr. Yarbrough.
Yes, thank you. I understand, I think the removal piece. Did the service also include kind of blocking insect re-entry or cutting back? Like, obviously, I guess what I mean is removing the homes so that the animals don't come back.
Yes. It would start with treatment, usually with treatment of the area, see if that was effective to remove them, and then when activity stopped, go in and remove the homes as well, so that as best we can, we don't have repeats.
Okay, and so areas that needed to be sealed up were sealed up, or bushes that needed to be cut back were cut back or removed, or is that work we still should do?
Yes, there's the work, landscaping part of it, but it's wherever these developed, it was to really work on the removal. One was even inside a building, and we had to, obviously that was a full removal with additional work to close it up.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Ms. Downer?
I was wondering if this service actually covers rodents. I mean, like even at the entry door, putting the threshold strips there, do we need a contractor for that? Because we can constantly have these type of services, but if you're not, like Dr. Yarbrough is saying, if you don't close up the entry, or even if you have a slight entry, it's just like defeating the purpose of having even rodent treatment. Does it include that also, like to put the thresholds on the doors? So,
that work is done in-house with our carpenters.
Okay.
So when these things are discovered after treatment, our carpenters will come behind and do the close-up work where possible.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right, thank you for those questions. Anything else in this item? All right, that's the end of the action items. So we can make the motions to send them to the full committee. Just wanted to confirm nobody needs anything moved separately, or do they? I know one is with United Illuminating.
Yeah. Yes, I was going to say that. Can you move that separately? I'll be reclusing myself for that one also.
All right. Will do. So let's start with that. I move that we send to the full committee agreement 5.1 with United Illuminating.
Second.
It's been seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and vote. Dr. Yarbrough?
Yes.
Ms. Downer?
Recluse.
And I'm a yes, so the motion carries. And next, I move that we send to the full board this one abstract, the data sharing agreement, agreement 5.2, these 6 purchase orders, 2 contracts, and 3 change orders.
So move.
It's been moved, and I'll take that as a second, Ms. Downer. Is there any discussion?
Oh, second. No.
Yep. All right, we'll go ahead and vote. Ms. Downer,
Yes.
Dr. Yarborough,
Yes.
and I'm a yes as well. The motion carries. 10.1 is informational. It's the Finance and Operations Committee meeting calendar for next year. I don't know that we need to discuss it at all, but just please take a look at that. Is there any comments you have on this, Ms. DeMayo, or is this, it is what it is? We'll just say the January ones are already listed on the calendar because we always approve the January meetings just so we can make sure that we have them all in place. Attorney Alexiadis?
There, had to hit the mute button, unmute. I don't think it hurts to put the January dates on there. I understand that, we adopt 13-month calendars so that the January meetings can be regular meetings, not special meetings once the calendar's posted in December. But probably ought to be there.
All right,
And
thanks.
then also, are you putting this out there for discussion because this committee intends to approve it, or will the full board be approving it?
Full board approve our calendar next full board meeting on Monday night.
Okay.
So I don't know that we need to approve this, especially because by our bylaws, we're on the first and third
Yeah.
Mondays, period. And so these are just to alert people to where the holiday shifts are. But I do agree that the full calendar at the board meeting on Monday should go January 1, 2026 through January 31st, 2027.
Yeah. And so we're clear, Mr. Chairman, it's a statutory requirement that you post the schedule for the year.
Yes.
Right, under FOIA. So that's why we do this.
Right. Agreed. And that's so the real thing will be for the full calendar suite for at the full board meeting on Monday night, but just wanted to give us a chance to take a look at this, see if we saw any issues or problems so that Ms. DeMayo and Ms. Johnson can have it all updated. So everything looked right to me on this. So, but I don't think doesn't require our vote. Anything else on the calendar issue or question? Okay. Number 10.2 is F&O related presentations to the full Board of Education meetings. At our last full board meeting, Dr. Benitez suggested that this committee take a look at having financial or operational related presentations in the full board meeting, both as, for the education of the full board, but also for the public and everybody else. And so I said that we would discuss it in this meeting here. So I'll open up the floor here for discussion, but I think these would be, we occasionally have things at full board meetings that are presentations, but it's typically education related ones, not financials. So some examples that I think that we could dive into, obviously, we're going to have budget season coming up, but then also some of the things about the way contracting works in the city, what the process is, might be an example of that, as well as going over particular budget related things. So questions I've had in the past is central office budget and staffing is an example. And another example is, what do you mean by other contractual services on the line item budget? So those are two things, but I'll just open it up if anybody else has any other suggestions as to what we could think about over the next year or several months, have financial presentations. I think another example could be the next time we have so in our second January meeting, Mr. Hernandez will present the district's budget for, the December budget statement. Might be a chance to present the budget statement at the full board meeting too. It's mid-year. gives people a sense of what it is. People could ask questions about it, similar to what we do. But the full board doesn't, unless they're watching the videos or tuning in to us, don't get the full presentation of those monthly budget things. So that's an example. Any other thoughts or?
This might be along the lines of what you've already mentioned or what people are thinking about. Any kind of gap analysis as it relates to our finances, I think we should present. And it may come from a different committee, but the facility spending, um, either that if the building committee wants to present or for it to come through finance. I know finance approves the spending there, but since that's a different budget category, I think it would be useful to share that it's a different budget category, and then also talk about what investments go through that.
Thank you. Anything else? So I guess that those are some of our suggestions. So perhaps Dr. Negron and Mr. Hernandez, you can talk about, things. And then also as we have presentations and things in this meeting, maybe we could say, this would be a good thing to also present at the full board meeting. I know that's typically what teaching and learning does is presentations happen there first, and then there's questions, things get worked on and then presented to the full board. That's sometimes what happens there. So Dr. Negron?
Yes, I do intend to employ this practice, which I think is going to be good for us. So as we are getting ready to conclude the stakeholder survey related to our budget process, it ends tomorrow. I do intend to bring forth a presentation to speak about participants and what we heard. So all of that to say that we will have one at the next board meeting.
All right, thank you. Any other thoughts on this item? Hearing seen none. Update on the 2026-27 budget process. Mr. Hernandez.
Yes. So I can't remember exactly if I shared this last time, but I will share it just in case, and then I'll piggyback on it. So I think last time we spoke about that I was at a point where I was sharing preliminary budgets with each of the schools and also each department. And that's the starting point of building the budget for next year, which is school-based budgets and also department budgets, and then kind of work it from that point up. And that those budgets have been shared. I think I also shared that for the schools, the methodology that we use this year to calculate how much general funding each school will receive change from previous practice in order to build that equity base that I've been talking about, since I arrived. We did include not only a methodology that calculated amounts of funding based on enrollment, but also it provided a weight for special education students and multi-language learner students. So the enrollment for that population was also taken into account to provide additional funding for each school. All in all, and again, this is a preliminary because this is a draft, and these amounts are subject to change based on how we look through the rest of the process of the budget building. It seems like pretty much almost every school received additional funding compared to last year. There's a few schools that may have decreased a little bit, but that's only due to a decrease in enrollment on that particular school, when most other schools potentially they had an increase on enrollment and or the methodology itself provided an increase of funding for that particular school. So far, it's good news, I know, for the schools as we see how the general funding change from year to year. I've seen schools changing 15, 20%, 40% increase. So that's good on that end. So I think that definitely provides some equity on that level. Departments have also received their preliminary budgets for general funding, and I am just receiving the last few budget worksheets from from the schools. I already have all of them since last week. Departments are still providing their budgets, and I believe they have until tomorrow to provide all of them back to me. So they are basically still working on it. After tomorrow, when I have all the budgets for department and schools, then on December 4th, on Thursday, I begin my meetings with the individual schools. And on Thursday, we'll be taking all the schools under the Assistant Superintendent Viviana Camacho. All of her schools will be done on Thursday. On Friday, I will do a few departments in the morning. And then on Monday, I believe I'll do all the schools under Assistant Superintendent Cristina Di Negre. And on Tuesday, I believe I'll do the ones under Alicia Perrin. So all the schools will be done by Tuesday of next week. And then after that, then I'll continue doing the other departments. So these meetings will focus a lot on not only hearing and understanding, the budgetary needs that each school may have, but again, because every school had the opportunity now to assign their budget line items and the amounts based on the amount that was allotted. Most of their needs will be covered already by the submissions that they provided back to me. So a lot of the conversation will be about staffing, aligning and making sure that we have the right staffing in the right school, to make sure that all of our systems in central office reflect the right staffing in the right places, and any other new needs or wish lists that they may have. And so these meetings will be extremely important to acquire all the information that we may need as we go along the process of building the rest of the budget. Um, Beyond that, then I will say that part of the process has been very interesting because every time we go through one of these budgetary questions, other new questions come up. And what I realized, as I was thinking about it earlier today, what I realized is that this conversation of equity and making sure that schools have what they need, the resources that they need in order to have a quality service to our children, every single aspect of the budget that I look at is an opportunity for us to improve that particular aspect of providing better quality service to our children and provide more resources to our school. So today I've had preliminary conversations, with the superintendent and some other leadership in central office, talking about how can we provide more resources to the schools, right? We are limited in funding, and we all know that, but I'm still searching for other opportunities to provide even more resources to schools. So every time we have a conversation, it seems like there's a new opportunity for us to explore. So it's been very interesting because when I think that this is it, we don't have any more places to go to, we keep finding opportunities to explore. And whether we are able to achieve the goal, whether we're able to find those resources during in that particular conversation, that's still to be seen. But the willingness of this leadership of this cabinet to explore every single opportunity is very encouraging, and I'm grateful that I have colleagues that are having those conversations with me, right? Like, hey, I may take a hit, I may lose a little bit of money here for this particular contract, but if that means that this school is going to receive this, let's do it. Let's explore the opportunity. What are the pros and cons of this decision, right? So we're having these open conversations that are important for us to have, and that's very encouraging. And I think that the process, it's working the way it was intended to work.
All right, thank you. Comments or questions for Mr. Hernandez?
I just appreciate the thoughtfulness and the strategy and the methodical way that the budget is being looked at, and the school by school approach, and then also the thoughtfulness around how do we increase resources to particular divisions of schools. A question about the school-based budget: will there be a time that information will be shared, or how, and even the equity considerations?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, all of this information will be shared. Right now we're in the early stages of putting this together. And that's why I've been very clear that every information that I'm sharing with principals, administrators, leadership is on draft form. It's preliminary because it's a starting point, right? It's where I'm starting, but as I see how other parts of the budget develop, other things may get affected. So I'm being very honest about this is what it is right now. This is my intention. This is what I would love to do, but there may be other things down the road that may have an impact on earlier decisions. So that's why I am not open to completely put it all out there because it's still in draft form. But at some point, as and I will hope that it's as early as I can. I will start sharing, pieces here and there. But I want to be responsible to the process and responsible to the whole system, not just the schools individually. I would love to just tell you and show you exactly what each school has right now. Uh, and that may satisfy, the need of knowing, oh, what the schools are getting, did they get more? But it's responsible to do that and then leave everybody else and the rest of the district, without having made those decisions yet, because one thing affects the other. I want to be very responsible of how we do this.
Great. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other comments or questions? I'll just echo, I also appreciate the process and hearing about it. I think it sounds like a good one to me, and look forward to hearing more about it as it develops.
Thank you.
Yeah, and to reiterate that as this process goes forward, this all will be shared in public. It's now in this preliminary draft form, but it's part of the budget presentations coming in the winter and spring. That's when more details will be shared. Is that correct?
Yeah, and I appreciate the fact that I have this opportunity to provide a budget development update on every meeting because it allows me to start feeding the public with where we are and what are we doing. And when we do have more more information that's more like this, final decisions and final information, when I share that information, at least the public already knows how we got there. And so this is kind of like building up to that moment and that day that everything will start getting, has to start being made public. So I think this is good because it's building up, and then people get to learn also how do we do this? How do we get here? Who are the people involved, right? And I did mention that the last week of January, Superintendent and I were going to be doing some visits to some schools and some community stakeholders and some parents that we're going to be meeting with. And then we have the thought exchange that closes tomorrow, I believe, and that has provided invaluable information. So there's a lot going on right now that's helping us put this together. So I'm just kind of feeding you a little bit here and there, right, as things get developed. But then at the end, you're gonna see the final product, and I hope that it's one uh, um, uh, that will satisfy the needs of our children, which is ultimately the goal.
Thank you. Anything else in this item? All right. For item 11, are there any big upcoming financial issues you all would like to notify the board about or that we haven't already discussed?
No, not at this point.
Okay. Item 12.1, the data sharing policies. We've discussed this. We've made some changes to the introduction or preamble to it. Is there any other discussion on this, or are we able to move this tonight to governance committee? All right. Do I have a motion to send this to the governance committee?
So moved.
Second.
Moved. It's been seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. Dr. Yarborough,
Yes.
Ms. Downer?
Yes.
I'm a yes as well, so the motion carries. So we'll send that over and send an email tomorrow to Ms. Downer and to Dr. Benitez and to Ms. Jackson, I guess, that the committee's done this.
Mr. Horace also.
Okay, that's right. Thanks for that correction or addition. So I'll take care of that tomorrow sometime before the end of the day. And just before I ask for a motion to adjourn, just to remind everybody, we don't have a second meeting scheduled. for this committee or for the full board in the month of December. So barring any need for some sort of emergency meeting or special meeting to handle some item, we will not be meeting in 2 weeks. So just a reminder, you'll get the night off. Dr. Yarbrough?
Yes. Just a clarification question on my end. We moved and we're sending to the board the data sharing agreement with Varsity Tutors. And just to clarify on my end, is there a need to have the IRB portion done for the board to approve or consider? Like, does that vetting need to be done and the agreement need to be made between Mathematica and the district before the board members formally vote on whether
That's a
to
good
include
question.
them?
That's not a question I have the answer to. Does anybody else? It's a new one for me.
The way that John explained it to me, and I can be wrong because John's not here, and I can get back to the board on the answer, would be that we wanted first your approval to even engage in the conversation. Because if we didn't have the approval, it wouldn't be used us to even proceed. We do have your after this meeting, and it moves forward, we'll have your preliminary approval. I believe John's intention was to pursue that part. If you want it done before the board meeting in 2 weeks, I can speak to him to see if that's a step he can take with that time frame. And if not, then we'll have to wait till January. But I can get back to the board on that and get clarification.
Okay, just to clarify here, anything we do here is advisory to the full board.
Correct.
So you don't have board approval on it, but I mean, I think we asked a lot of questions and we're going to get an updated memo, I think, some extra information, but
Okay.
I mean, personally, I support it, but that's not the board. So
I understand. I will get clarification and get back to Pat, and then Pat can share with you guys the answers as the communication venue for what you just asked.
okay.
Great, thank you. And I think on my end, my preference is for whatever comes to the board, even to this committee, but before it goes to the board, for it to be like fully vetted on the district side, fully arranged in terms of the minimum amount of data or the appropriate specific data categories we're sharing and all of that. So, okay,
That's
thank you.
good.
Very
Thanks.
So the preference is that other piece happens before the full board sees this. Okay. That makes sense.
Yes, and if those two need to be divided up, then you can decide that too in terms of how you want to progress through the full board.
And if we could just have an update by Friday as to what the plan is going to be. Sounds great.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Thanks for the questions. If there's nothing else, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Dr. Yarbrough, how do you vote?
Yes.
Ms. Downer?
Yes.
I'm a yes as well. We are adjourned. Thank you very much, everybody.
Good
See
night.
you in January.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy